All right, deep divers, welcome back to Sip and Talk.
Always a pleasure to be back.
Last time, remember we were talking about those Taiwanese street scenes?
Oh, yeah, and Kate Blanchett's Vogue photo shoot, right?
Yes. Everyone was saying, gorgeous woman, not so gorgeous background.
Uh-huh, yeah.
It sparked some pretty interesting conversations online.
It did. Some people agreed, some people disagreed.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And all that back and forth got me thinking about Taiwanese people and self-criticism.
Oh, interesting.
Like, are they masters of it or something? Is it just in their DNA?
Well, there's definitely a tendency in Taiwanese society
To be self-critical.
Yeah, to be self-reflective and maybe even a bit critical about things.
About, like, what kind of things?
About a lot of things, the government, everyday life.
Even Vogue photo shoots.
Yeah, especially Vogue photo shoots, it seems. But seriously, like, any cultural trait, there are two sides to this whole self-criticism thing.
Okay, so there's good and bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are some awesome positives that come from it.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
But also some potential downsides we need to consider.
Ooh, a paradox. I love it. Lay it on me, what's so good about self-criticism.
Well, think of it this way: when you're constantly looking for ways to improve,
You're more likely to actually improve.
yeah, you're more likely to spot issues and actually do something about them.
That makes sense. Got any examples of this in action?
Sure, think back to Taiwan's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how people were initially critical of some of the government's strict measures?
Yeah, there were definitely some strong opinions flying around.
There were. But a lot of those adjustments they made, sparked by that initial wave of self-critique.
Actually helped them handle things better.
Exactly. It helped Taiwan become a global success story.
That's true. Everyone was praising Taiwan for how well they handled things.
They did.
So in a way that criticism actually pushed them to do even better.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to huge things like pandemics either.
Really. What else?
Even something as simple as trash sorting became a target of self-criticism in Taiwan.
Wait, really? People were complaining about garbage.
Oh, yeah, they were super vocal about the problems with the old trash system.
What happened?
Well, all that public pressure, it pushed Taiwan to adopt some of the most innovative recycling and waste reduction policies out there.
So complaining about garbage can lead to progress.
It can. It shows that they value everyone's voice and that people aren't afraid to speak their minds, even if it means disagreeing with the government.
That's pretty cool, actually. You don't see that kind of openness everywhere.
You don't. And it goes hand in hand with Taiwan's high ranking in global press freedom indexes.
So we've got this culture of self-critique that can push for progress, but also shows a real commitment to free speech. That's awesome.
It is.
But I have a feeling it can't all be sunshine and rainbows, right? There's got to be a downside to all this self-scrutiny.
You're right.
Yeah.
While self-criticism can be a powerful force for good, it's like anything else, too much of it can tip the scales in the wrong direction.
Okay, spill the tea. What kind of negative impacts are we talking about?
Well, constantly focusing on the negatives can chip away at people's confidence.
How so?
Imagine constantly pointing out flaws and overlooking achievements.
Yeah, no one wants to hear that all the time.
Right. Over time, that can create a pretty distorted view of reality.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like you get so fixated on what's wrong that you forget to appreciate what's right.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that Taiwan has made incredible strides in so many areas.
Like what?
Democracy, technology, culture.
Yeah, they're killing it in a lot of ways.
They are. But if people dwell on the shortcomings and don't acknowledge those successes, it can lead to this negativity.
That undermines their accomplishment.
Yeah, exactly.
So too much self-criticism can actually hold people back. That's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is a bit ironic. Sometimes all that focus on individual flaws makes it hard to see the forest for the trees.
And I bet all that negativity can lead to some serious internal drama too, right? Like too much criticism can create division and infighting.
You're spot on. Healthy debate is essential for any democracy.
For sure.
But when criticism becomes overly harsh or unreasonable, it can create a toxic environment.
That actually hinders progress.
Exactly. Have you ever heard the term online mob mentality?
Oh, yeah. Like when everyone piles on and it becomes impossible to have a reasonable conversation.
Exactly. That kind of unconstructive criticism can derail productive conversations.
And make it much harder to find solutions.
Right.
Okay, I'm getting the picture.
Yeah.
Self-criticism can be a powerful tool for improvement.
It can.
But it's definitely a double-edged sword. Too much of it. And it can lead to negativity, infighting, and a skewed view of reality.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how does this all actually play out in real-world situations? Got any examples?
Of course. Let's dive into some specific examples where this dynamic of self-criticism has really shaped events in Taiwan. Like, remember the Taroko Express train accident a few years back?
Oh, gosh, yeah, that was just awful.
It was a horrific event, and it sparked a wave of public outcry and criticism.
Rightly so.
Yeah, people are really holding the government accountable for lapses in infrastructure safety.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is, and that intense self-criticism that followed it forced Taiwan to take a hard look in the mirror, so to speak.
Man.
Well, it shone a light on the urgent need for infrastructure investment and ultimately led to significant changes in safety regulations.
So even in the face of such a terrible tragedy, that self-critical spirit pushed Taiwan to make real positive changes.
Absolutely it did. It can be a powerful force for good.
It can. And we saw something similar with the vaccine rollout, right?
We did. There were definitely some hiccups with procurement and distribution early on.
And people were not shy about expressing their opinions.
Not at all. There was a lot of criticism flying around.
So what happened? Did anything change?
All that vocal criticism, it actually pushed the government to work more effectively with the private sector.
To get more vaccines?
Secure more vaccines, yeah. And it worked. It was a classic case of public pressure fueled by self-criticism leading to concrete results.
Wow. So Taiwanese people see a problem, they don't hold back on calling it out.
Yeah.
And that often sparks action and improvement.
It often does. But you're right, it's not always that simple.
What do I mean?
Well, one area where this tendency can be a bit problematic is in how some people view Taiwan's achievements on the world stage.
How so?
Well, think about Taiwanese athletes who compete internationally.
Okay.
Even when they achieve incredible things, there's often this focus on what could have been done better or on the losses.
Instead of celebrating the wins.
Exactly.
It's almost like they're looking for things to be critical of.
It's like they're so conditioned to look for flaws that they miss the bigger picture.
Which is?
How far Taiwan has come and the incredible talent and dedication of its people.
It's like they're robbing themselves of the joy of accomplishment.
It is a bit disheartening. It highlights how important it is to find that sweet spot between constructive self-criticism and healthy self-confidence.
You want to be aware of areas for improvement, but not get so bogged down in the negatives that you lose sight of the positives.
Precisely. It's an ongoing challenge not just for individuals, but for a Taiwanese society as a whole.
So where do we go from here? How do we strike that balance between self-reflection and self-assurance?
The source material does offer some interesting food for thought.
Like what?
Well, one suggestion is to look at how other cultures approach self-criticism. Like, take Japan, for example.
Okay.
They're known for their emphasis on humility and group harmony.
So maybe there's some lessons to be learned from how they balance self-critique with a strong sense of collective identity.
Exactly. And then you have South Korea, which has cultivated a really strong sense of national pride, especially when it comes to their cultural export.
Yeah, K-pop and K-dramas are everywhere.
Right. So maybe there are insights to be gleaned from how South Korea has harnessed that national pride to achieve global success.
So learning from other cultures is one piece of the puzzle. What else?
Another key question is how to turn this critical thinking into a strength on the global stage.
How do we do that?
Well, Taiwanese people are known for their analytical skills, their ability to spot problems and find solutions.
So maybe the key is to channel that critical energy outwards towards innovation and problem solving that can make a difference on a global scale.
Precisely. Imagine if Taiwan could leverage its self-critical nature to become a leader in addressing global challenges like climate change or technological advancement.
Now that would be amazing, taking that sharp critical eye and turning it outwards to make a positive impact on the world.
It's definitely something to strive for. It speaks to the potential of this cultural characteristic when it's channeled in the right direction.
It's funny thinking back to those Vogue photos. Maybe all those not-so-gorgeous background comments were actually a sign of how much Taiwanese people care. Like maybe it's not about putting Taiwan down,
Right.
but about wanting it to be even better.
I think there's definitely some truth to that desire for improvement, that constant striving for something more.
Yeah.
It's a big part of what drives Taiwanese society forward.
They're not content to just sit back and accept things as they are. They want to analyze, critique, and ultimately make things better.
Exactly. And that critical thinking, when channeled effectively, can be an incredible asset.
Not just for Taiwan.
Not just for Taiwan, but for the world.
Imagine Taiwan using that energy to tackle global challenges.
That would be something.
Like climate change or technological advancements?
Yeah, using their sharp critical eye to make a positive impact.
That's a pretty awesome vision for Taiwan's future.
It really is. It speaks to the potential that's there.
All right, I think we've officially reached the bottom of this deep dive.
It has been quite a journey.
It has. Self-criticism in Taiwan, it's a real thing. It's ingrained in the culture.
It's not going anywhere.
And as we've been discussing, it can be both a good thing and a bad thing.
It's all about finding that balance.
Well, on that note, maybe we should all take a break from criticizing.
And do what?
And just enjoy a delicious Taiwanese bubble tea.
Now you're talking.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has been.
Thanks for walking us through it all.
My pleasure. I always enjoy these conversations.
And hey, speaking of exploring new things, if you're looking for adventures of a different kind,
oh yeah,
you should definitely check out Mickytolife on YouTube.
Mickytolife is a great channel.
It's all about travel whiskey and fascinating stories from around the world.
Sounds like a good time.
All right, deep divers, that's a wrap for today. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those conversations flowing.
See you next time.